Yeah, I mean we're excited about the game, the upcoming game. To heading into November with Bowling Green and a chance to play our defending conference champion in a big conference game with a players know there's an opportunity to be sole possession number one since it'd be a head-to-head competition. So it does give it some added incentive there, and so there's little needed and a nationally televised Tuesday night game, blackout, all those things that add excitement to the event. Uh, all make for a good home football game for our crowd and for our fans to come out and see. Has that Halloween kind of flavor to it with the blackout and all that. But it's a great challenge for our football team. Our players know the opportunity that's out there for them, and we've had good practice and preparation for them. We had 2 or 3 extra days because to go from Saturday to a Tuesday. And so we've had a little extra time to prepare. We'll continue to prepare today. We had practice. We'll have practice again tomorrow, Sunday, and then Monday will be our day before the game. But we're looking forward to it.
I think the biggest question was this the way you opened the game with the lead, and then it all unraveled.
Right.
I know Marshall was total from the opening up.
Right.
It was part of one of the lower points of the season, the way the second half
Right.
went around.
Well, it's 6 turnovers. I mean, you have 6 turnovers. You can be it could be the first half or second half of any game. When you have 6 turnovers, and I guess the block punt is not listed as a turnover. I think it's just a possession, but it's a turnover. When you have 6 of and I think all of them will end up in 50 in their side of the field, and it led to a lot of points being given. So again, it's you can't win football games that way. That's so. We had a couple of turnovers at the end of the game before that, but again, this week we were up 21-19 into the fourth quarter, but we had already had a couple turnovers, and so we continue to have them. What we need to do is what we've talked to our players about is eliminate the turnovers. I don't think the effort changed. I don't think their attitude changed. Their turnovers changed. We had a punt blocked, had a punt muffed, had 4 interceptions, and you can't really win a football game that way. And it was a tough lesson to learn, but we've got to learn how not to do that. And us, we coaches, got to do a better job of impressing that on our players. So, I mean, that's a tough loss. I mean, I don't know if you can say Marshall is undefeated in about the last umpteenth games and have beat us about the same way they beat everybody in the country. But it was miserable. It was miserable. And we turned the ball over early. First 2 possessions, I think we fumbled in that one. When we lose the turnover battle, we have a hard time winning because we're a good, solid team, but we don't dominate right now with enough to turn the ball over. When we lose the turnover battle, there's a good chance we lose the football game, and so our job is to go out there. And for the first half, neither team had a turnover. Ball State and us were leading the conference in turnover margin. Both had a +6. First half, they don't have any turnovers. We have none. We're winning 21-6, 13. We have 6 in the second half, and we lose the game. And so it does. It's not rocket science. It's what could we do to improve play? Well, don't turn the ball over. 0 turnovers, you have a better chance to win. So we're not going to let. So you got to show your players this is not something where you have to play at a different offense, a different defense. Let's go see if we can eliminate those turnovers. And I think every turnover was one that you could eliminate. Sometimes the ball hits the back of a defensive back and bounces in the air, and a guy gets it, and you had no way of eliminating that turnover. I think every one was a decision to go here, which should have gone there, or a snap that went over here that should have been right here, or a decision to catch a ball as opposed to not to it. Everyone was a decision. We coaches have to feel like, if we do a better job of preparing our players to make those decisions, so you have to look at like those are things that we can correct.
What do you tell Winston about those turnovers, number one? And number two, is the quarterback situation going to still be in flux this week? Do you know who's starting?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle's back now. Kyle had head injury. He was not able to practice it. I played even the first week. Last week he didn't get cleared until about Thursday. With a little bit he got some of the practice in, and we felt best to not rush that. He's healthy now. I don't think you lose a position due to injury. And so I think we've been playing Tommy Woodson. Tommy Woodson he's that's the second game he's ever started, and there were some decisions that he won't make as a senior or a junior that he made there, but he'll. I mean, all I can think of, I wish it would have one of my players, but I just remember my dad talking about Chris Winkie having his first start like at 6 interceptions. In fact, my dad tells a joke that Peter Warwick, who was the star receiver, got in the huddle and says, "Chris, if you'll tell me which of their guys you're throwing it to, I'll try to intercept it." And that's all I could think. I told Tommy that he went on to win the Heisman Trophy, the national championship. The point I'm trying to make is sometimes that's part of the process. I wish it wasn't, and I wish it hadn't happened. But there are some things that people that learn from experience, and we all have to look at. But like I say, quarterbacks get too much credit times and too much blame. But you don't go into that position unless you accept that as part of the deal, and. But you just have to say, man, that if you learn from it and move forward, that's good.
Turnovers and quarterback issue aside, you really take away the first game of the season. You really haven't had that big scoring, any big scoring game. Which I think a lot of us thought you would be a pretty powerful offensive
Right.
team. Is there anything you can point to?
I think we're probably more of a plotter. I think offensively we're not a deep we're not a loose, wide open offense that we have that maybe the first year when we were when you're giving up a lot of points, people usually play back and let you score a lot of points. If you look at the teams that score a lot of points in this league, they give up a lot of points usually. It usually goes together. But and now we need to find ways to make big plays, and we want to put more points on the board, But at the same time, we figured out first if we don't turn the ball over and don't lose the game, we got a chance to win the game. And I think we've kind of, and I think I've said this several times, that we have decided that our best chance to not lose the game is play great defense, try to work that running game in with a passing game, and don't turn the ball over. And then we can get those win closes to more win closes as opposed to lose closes. Right now, we're interested in winning close ball games, and I think that's the best strategy for us right now. So there'll be a time when offense showcases. But right now, I think if we say, okay, what's our strength? How do we play to our strength? I think we play to our strength. Defense that does a good job managing to keep people out of the end zone. Let's play wise. Let's make sure we get first downs and move the football. If it's 3rd and long, don't be afraid to run a draw and punt the ball if we have to. Don't turn the ball over. That has worked in several of our victories. But I think that's kind of been the personality we've had right now. I think accurate, because I think right now we've clearly said our number one goal is to win is to win as many games as we can, however we can win them. So, I think we'll continue to try to look at our offense and see how we can be more productive as far as points are concerned. But the most important thing is that we have one more point than the other team, and if we can run the clock, establish that, do all those things. Now, if we scored 21 points, a little over a quarter Saturday, if we do that twice, we got 42. That's a pretty good deal. That's what I'm saying. We don't quite have it. We don't. What I'm saying. You watched a game last night. How many 50-yard runs? How many 60-yard passes did you see in that game? You saw a bunch of them.
I didn't know LeBron was passing.
I didn't know that game was. Oh, they played last night?
Yeah.
No, of course they played. Yeah, it was funny. I was I was doing my radio show last night at Johnny J's, and it was packed. I said, boy, they know I'm here for this show, baby. And I start doing my radio show, and the people start cheering, and they start cranking up. And I look over there, and they're introducing the Cavs, and they go nuts. And it wasn't for me; it was for LeBron. So I remember this is LeBron. This is LeBron territory. No, that's good. But that was. But we noticed last night we're football coaches. We're going to watch the Florida State Louisville number 1 team or number 2 team against number 1 defense. And we were the only ones watching football last night in Akron. I promise you, it was a sold out LeBron James night. And
But I guess to get back, there was just a sense that this offense would be 28, 32.
You'd like it to be a little bit better. We haven't been as good. I mean, we haven't scored as much. I'm all with you there. I mean, I don't think. I think you need to get in those 30s. The average, it does seem to be a lot lower. I mean, it wasn't anything to be 44 and 50. I think our conference around the better scores, 36 points, 34, 36, and that's where you'd like to be about in the 30s. And I think if we had our ruthers, that's probably where we'd like to be. Hadn't turned out that way, you know. And so what we've decided to do is let's find a way to recognize what we got to do, you know, team, how we're going to win football games and make sure we win them. And we have in developing our program, we've turned the ball over a lot and taken ourselves out of chances to win. And it's been a good formula for our victories. You know, not so much. I mean, I don't remember the score of Eastern Michigan or Miami or Pitt. Well, Pitt might have 21 to something. But I'm saying, they were wins. They were real good wins. But I don't know that we scored all that many points.
Is the one plus with Kyle coming back the fact that he was the guy that kept you in that low turnover?
Yeah, I think Kyle gives you more experience. He has a little more history of an experience to draw from. I think any time when I think he gives you a little bit more experience. I think in running our offense, that just comes with time. Anytime the guy's got a couple of starts, he's had an entire season plus this season. He gives you a little bit more experience and a whole year under that, but prior to that, getting reps. And so that's one thing he does a good job of is trying to manage the offense.
Coach, as you look at these Falcons, they lose Johnson on the opening week against WKU. Napke comes in, and it seems like their offense doesn't miss a beat. Do you see that in the film?
Yeah, their offense is pretty good. They got players. They didn't win the conference last year or be in bowls 2 straight years and without having some football players besides a quarterback. They've got a very good tailback. They've got a 6 or 7 starters back on defense. Offensively, they've got some very, very gifted receivers. And Travis Green, running back. There was a reason more than just a quarterback. Because you think of quarterbacks last year, you think the number you got Ball State were pretty dang good, but I thought Bowling Green had a lot of players. They had as talented a team, talent-wise, in the team. So they are. But even Bowling Green in this conference, they've had to fight for their wins now. This has not been an easy deal for anyone, you know. And Western Michigan, you know, was a tough loss. They UMass 47-42, Buffalo 36-35. These are tough. These are all tough games, and we all just you line up and play this year's season, this year's games. We right now we got a chance to play this team for a chance to take sole possession for 1 week, and that's about. And you got to remember too, we're talking about we don't get it. We're one. You'd win a game, you got 1 week till the next week, but it does add some incentive to this football game, and it's a nice place. We have not been in the midseason here in a long time where we're actually playing a game that counts, that has a significant meaning in the conference championship, and we have to somehow get our players to realize where they are right now in the progress of the program. That we're at midseason and we're actually in the race, and we said even before the season, I don't know if we just said it for fun, but I think I kind of meant it, that absolutely nothing was going to be determined before November on Tuesday nights, and lo and behold, that's exactly what it is. We've won 4, we've lost 4. We're not consistent enough to be undefeated, or consistent enough as a football team to be better than 4-4 right now. Turnovers especially being the key.
What's the big concern with Bowling Green being off so long?
Well, I mean, as a coach, all right, you come out there and you spend your days out there working on here's their tendencies from all their video. You got these 5 favorite running plays, these 5 favorite passing plays. You recognize them, you almost memorize them, you practice them, and they have plenty of time to put in 3 new ones. And so for a quarter and a half, you don't recognize what they're doing. Or defensive, they got 3 new blitzes that they've had time to execute now. And the better a team is, the more they don't change it regardless. You know, they're probably going to do it anyway. But that's the fear, is that you change things. And then on the other hand, you got 2 weeks. I mean, it all depends. You're going to play this thing however you're going to play. If you got 2 weeks off, you analyze a team and you study their tendencies so much, you become perfect for those, really good for those tendencies. And all of a sudden, we don't do the same thing, and you've spent twice as much time preparing for the wrong thing. So, you know, both of us have to consider that. We're 8 games into our season, and there are certain things both of us do well and don't do well. And we can't think much past don't turn the ball over. Win the turnover margin. As we have said before, let's win the turnover margin. Let's win it. and go from there.
Are they feeling any pressure because of where they are right now?
I don't think they are. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I don't think they are feeling pressure about. I mean, they know what's at stake. I don't know if that. I mean, you know, you're asking a question every young person has to. Senior, is there a senior? You talking about a senior, or is you talking about a freshman? A senior obviously feels a little more tighter than a freshman. This is my year. We got to do it, and so you get a lot more incentive for a senior to call a team meeting or to call his segment together and say, "Man, this is my chance, man. It's my chance. You know, this is what I've worked for. You got a bunch of years. I don't. You know, so I think that builds, and I think that's a natural. But that to me, there's a, you know, like I said, there's a proper level of pressure that makes you prepare, or that they call it the bell curve of anxiety. You know, where the certain level of anxiety increases performance, and then when you got too much pressure or anxiety, performance goes down. So you'd like to have that proper level so that kids come in and watch a little extra video, they put a little extra bounce in their step in practice, because they know that the game has a little bit more significance. But that's the biggest thing. But you know, still.
Will you show them last year's game? Because as I recall, that first half, the defense
Right.
dominated.
And we scored points.
Yeah, and second half,
Well, it was really the last drive of the first half too, because they went about 11 for 11 in a row after that. But no, you know, the difference, there's a completely different philosophy, style, offense and defensively. So you really don't have a lot of comparison. We'll watch it once to show that, hey, these athletically, this is how you blocked this guy over top of you. This is how you had to pass rush this guy. This is how you had to defend this guy. So there's individual things you look at, but as far as style of play, they're different philosophy, different staff, entirely different staff. They're the new group, and so there's not nearly the carryover as you would have having the same guys back there.
Has their defense improved much?
From last year, not from.
This year, over the course?
They, you know, I'll say this: their defense. You know, they're very talented. It's I'll be anxious to see how this thing plays out, because again, I think that it's very hard to have a great defense when your offense runs the fast offense and scores a bunch of plays, and the other team never slows down and does the same thing, and it gets to be it's what you see in college football a little bit today. One team does it, and the other team has to do it, and the defenses, or they'll give up yardage but not touchdowns, and all of a sudden, and that's what they practice, and that's what they see every day. It just seems to me, if anything, it makes it tougher on your defense to have good-looking numbers when your offense scores a lot. But talent-wise, they've still got as good a talent as anybody in the conference defensively, you know, and the numbers don't show up because, well, anytime you have a Wisconsin that throws up some gaudy numbers on you, your stats don't come back down very well. But was it Wisconsin? You had the 600 yards rushing or something, right? 800 yards off. Yeah, West took us a pretty good football team too. Those two teams got some huge numbers. Well, that was yeah.
They gave up 600 yards a game like 3 or 4 straight games.
Yeah, they played some good teams. I mean, they again, they're pretty talented football players. Same guys, 6 or 7 same starters they had last year. 6 or 7 same starters they had last year. I mean, I don't know if that's a question to ask me or ask them at their press conference. But I think their defense is very talented, and in the conference games that they've won, they've done a pretty good job.
Coach, with the way you've had to kind of mix and match the offensive line, is this layoff for us been a way to get them a little better?
Yeah, I mean, offensive line wise, we've got most everybody healthy. You know, that's you know, we've been able to kind of mature as we go through the process of building our offense up. We've kind of got people in place now and gotten some healthy people ready to go. We lost Isaiah one game because of a penalty. He missed the entire game he got thrown out of. He got thrown out the second series, and they missed that whole game. We lost that game. Isaiah Williams starts every game.
He wasn't on the start list on the game.
Well, I don't know. I thought he started about every game.
He may have.
Yeah.
We sent corrections in after, so.
Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. But anyway, I'm saying is we got our linemen playing well. I mean, we've got them. The question was, is the week off or down? And I think we've got everybody back. We've had Brumbaugh miss with injury, and Isaiah missed a game. Then we had to move people around. And what's that? But he's backing up now a little bit. Brittenham stepped up there. So I just think what we've kind of got, we've shuffled around, and we've got people healthy. We've got them playing where we want them to play right now, and they'll need to play well. Like I say, the statistics don't always tell the story, but this is a pretty good team.
You want to get up 80, 90, 100 plays or no?
You know, I'm not interested in play counting right now. I've done that. I've done that, but I don't think for us that it's a significant difference in the. To me, I'm not sure it plays to your defense at all. It looks like it does, but I don't know that. I don't know how many plays they average. Bowling Green, they average 24 minutes a game, is the lowest in the conference in time of possession.
Yeah.
So that means the defense is on the field the highest of any team in the conference. So I've always said if you're scoring points, it don't matter how far. To me, if I scored 7 points, then defense go 3 and out, and you'll be off in about a minute and a half. Now you go a 12-play drive, then you're stuck because I'm gonna score in about 2 minutes again. You're gonna be back out there for 12 more. But as the reality is, I think, is when you're just trying to establish your offense and establish some continuity and execution on offense. Right now, I don't know that nobody plays slow anymore almost because nobody huddles. Nobody plays slow, but there's like gray is yesterday's black or fast is yesterday's fast. Yesterday's fast is not fast anymore when it comes to hurry up offenses. I don't think hurry up offenses are, they're nothing more than a phase of football that we're going through that at some point it'll probably slow down. It'll probably go out altogether. Coach long enough in this business, and you coach the I formation, and you coach the split back veers. What I started out playing in college at West Virginia, then I coached the I formation, then I coached the West Coast split back offense, then the 4 wide out spread offense, and so every one of them was really great when it started, and it was kind of you better move on before it gets old. There's different phases of going fast that are important.
What would happen one time when you came out in a full house backfield like Woody Hayes with 2 tight ends? Would they be able to adjust?
I don't think the teams that do it tend to hurt people.
Yeah.
I think most people that are most of the very best talented schools in the country, that they have a place where you get all the talent, they stay conventional football because they're going to have a better center than you, a better guard than you, a better tackle than you, and so they're going to play the game where 11 people have to play the game. If you have to go out there and beat people that may have better talent, spread them out and make these 3 over here play the game by themselves, or those 3 play the game by themselves, or put 6 so only 3 people in the middle. So I think if you look what Southern Cal, year in year out, Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, they tend to do things that force you to have a good defensive tackle and force you to have a good linebacker, or they'll knock you right off your ball, off the panty.